Welcome, everybody, to the LIPSEY'S Aim Higher podcast. Across from me, Jason Klossner, I'm Rob Abrazino with LIPSEY'S, and we have more special guests. 'Tis the holiday season here. We're getting a lot of travelers through.
I know. It's been like guest central over here.
I know. It's
nice.
From POF-USA, we have Cody and Jeremy visiting for the day. Yeah, welcome, guys. What's going on?
Thank you. Not much. No, we wanted to come do the podcast and show off some of the new products.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get to that. That's really exciting. This is probably one of the most unique things. I happen to be downstairs by Garrett's desk, our sales manager, and I saw this particular new firearm sitting there, and I was like, whoa. I immediately picked it up and had to start toying with it a little bit.
It's always a good sign when you got a bunch of sales reps ask, hey, when can I buy one of those?
Yeah.
So that you know it's a good one then.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys are coming to town. We've got some new product. We've got some current product. I know probably schooling up our sales team on a little bit, touring around. What's new? What's going on?
We wanted to come in, say hi to everybody, say thank you for all the work we've done together in the last couple of years. Like you said, do some sales training with the team a little bit on some of the products that you guys currently carry, and just kind of tease that new product. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here while we're here.
POF has come on so strong for us in recent years, and I guess we could maybe go back a little bit and let's talk a little bit about your beginnings, Cody, and the company, and kind of when and where you guys started, and maybe the progression up through where you're at now.
Yeah, so we started 2002. My dad incorporated, and originally, like we talked about earlier, we were importing HK parts, so trigger packs, magazines, bolt carriers, barrels, anything for MP5s, HK91 kind of stuff out of Pakistan. Kind of fast forward, and my dad had a brain tumor in the 90s, and so he became pretty good friends with Ralph Smith at RDTS. When he had his brain tumor, he brought him out, and they did a big machine gun shoot. Because Ralph found out my dad was importing those HK parts and said, hey, can you do some CAD work? I know you're an engineer. Can you do some CAD work? I want to take customers' HK91s and turn them into HK21 belt feds. So my dad and Ralph did the design work so he could make the sheet metal parts and convert those over. And then from there, we started bringing in FNFAL parts kits, and we were building some in my dad's garage. And he's like, we could use that piston system for an AR. And so in 2005, we released our first P415, the piston gun, and that's kind of where we got started. It was just a weird kind of chain of events.
It's so cool and gritty and hands-on. Hey, let's make parts, and now everything's just so machined and automated. And
I always love it when they say it started in the garage.
Yeah, in the garage.
That always makes it the best story.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, and I remember, so 2005, I would have been 17 years old. I'd get out of hie school, go home, start putting uppers together in the garage. And we had an old Savage Snail, and we would shoot into it in the garage. It was me and my dad and my Uncle Chris. It was just the three of us. And I remember starting to go to SHOT Show, and everybody, POF, and they thought we were some big company. And I'm like, dude, it's just three of us in a garage.
Right.
My dad would work at Allied Tool and Die. He'd get off of work and go to his friend's shop, and they would let him use his machines at night to make his own parts as long as he was getting the material. It was it was interesting times, and to see where we've come from there. Some of the new employees that walk around are like, man, this place is crazy. I'm like, man, you should have seen where we started.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you said you were slinging trigger packs at 10 years old and peddling your wares and parts at various gun shows and things like that.
I don't know, it was kind of fun to see all sides of it, working those, we would do the different gun shows in the Phoenix area, and then starting to do the SHOT Show and going to NRA shows, and just seeing every part of the business. And now, obviously, being in distribution, that didn't really happen for us for, I don't know, maybe the last 5 years. So to come in and to see the warehouses and, that full circle of the business, it's pretty interesting. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's funny. POF, I can remember years, when y'all first were getting going, it's like, man, those guys got some kind of cool juju going on over there. It's like the looks, the designs, and and your dad, Frank, you could definitely tell he was not inside the box at all. He was constantly thinking outside of there, how can we make this better, lighter, more reliable, more accurate? And really what you're seeing now from you guys is a combination of all those theories and ideas, and now they've been vetted thoroughly enough to where, you can get a lightweight I mean, you look at a POF Rogue, you can get a 5.9 pound 308 that's accurate and runs.
Yeah.
And doesn't weigh you down. That's amazing.
With a really cool, as you mentioned, edgy look. They have a cool,
exactly.
The lineup, you know, as I've seen them, they just have just a little. There's some, I can't really even put my finger on it, but
distinctly POF.
Yeah,
right?
It's you know, when you see one of their guns, you know it's theirs.
Yeah.
It's got that look and that style to it, and like you said, it's kind of edgy, but they do it without adding a bunch of fluff.
Right.
Some manufacturers, they do all this stuff, and then, okay, well, that's great, but you just made the gun heavier, or you made the gun maybe not as reliable or whatever for this look, whereas they've done the opposite. They've had a cool look and kept the weight down and kept all the features and the benefits up. So, you know, POF's is a great line for us.
In 2005, you said was your first production rifle. Yep. And then what kind of happened from when did things start to kind of speed up, I guess, or did you get more into, you know, start expanding the line and so forth?
Yeah. So from 2005 to 2007, we were still in the garage. Right in 2007, we moved into our first, and we call it a shop. It was like a 4,000 square foot facility.
And moving up, man.
When we moved in there is when we released the P308, which was our original before we did the Revolutions and the Rogues. It was more of like the DPMS LR308. That was how we originally bought some guns from Randy, put the piston systems on them. From there, we designed our own receiver set, and basically we're buying parts from DPMS and making these guns. And then over time started making all the parts ourselves. The Revolution and the Rogue platform, my dad started designing that in 2006. And when Randy and DPMS came out with that LR308, me and my dad kind of sat down and was like, hey, we could invest a lot of time and design this really lightweight gun. We just don't have the time or the money to R&D. Let's piggyback what they're doing with this great product and make a piston gun that's compatible with other people's, you know, products that are out there. And then coming into, you know, right after when Donald Trump got elected, it started slowing down. And that was when we were like, you know what, we need to pick that Revolution back up. In this industry, there's so many different companies that are doing, let's face it, the same kind of thing.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
We had to do something different. You got to be relevant in this industry. You can't ride the same thing that you've done year
especially
after year.
Especially in the AR world.
Yeah. It's crowded. It's probably the most crowded space out there.
Yeah.
You know?
So in 2017, we released the Revolution, and that was because of that. Is how do you make something different, keep your name relevant, do good quality work? I mean, look, we're humans. We mess things up just as good as anybody does.
Sure.
You know, I'm just being honest about it. But yeah. Trying to keep your quality up, make something different, be unique,
and there's an element of speed and getting it to market. I mean, you know, you could spend a lifetime developing, but eventually you've got to put something out there.
You got to put something out. But that, I mean, the biggest thing is we try to innovate, not imitate. And I think that's you know, especially for our engineering department, that's a big thing. And I think the Tombstone kind of, when we talk about that later, kind of
hint.
Yeah. Tombstone kind of follows that direction. We're trying to do something different that other people aren't. Yeah, it's just our model. Everything's 100% American made, designed in-house, machined in-house. We just want to be different. So,
Cody, why don't you talk about a little bit about the innovations that go into the Revolution, like the heat sink barrel nut and the roller cam pin and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so on the Rogue and the Revolution in particular, I mean, the biggest thing obviously is it's a true AR-sized receiver. So if you set the Revolution upper and lower next to an AR-15 upper and lower, it doesn't matter the brand, the pen locations are the same. The bolt carrier is the same. The bolt's a little different, obviously, because it's got a bigger case head. The extractor's different because you need more material for that hook to hold up after thousands of rounds. It's pretty much a 300 blackout barrel extension where we remove one of the tooth. As far as the heat sink barrel nut, it's an aluminum barrel nut that's in a heat sink form, and the idea behind it is majority of your people in semi-auto are never going to see the difference. It was really meant for full auto rated guns. You're pulling all the heat out of the chamber, and the thing with a barrel, heat kills barrels. That constant heat and cool and heat and cool and
Sure.
heat and cool.
Yeah.
That you're basically stress relieving it back, and that's when you start wearing your rifling out. So the more heat we can pull out of it, same thing with the piston. You're not getting all the heat back in the action. It's going to get all the expended gas exited out of the front of the gun. So I mean, a lot of the stuff that we're doing is to try and make the parts last longer, take the heat away from it, so the gun's going to hold up better. You know, on the piston guns, we do the roller cam pin, which is to reduce friction and drag. But the big thing with those is on a piston gun, we were tearing up receivers. And so after, 05, we were replacing a bunch of receivers. And I'm like, okay, we got to do something.
Yeah.
These cam pins are just killing our guns, So we did the roller cam pin, and it worked. Same thing with the anti-tilt buffer tube. I mean, other companies had did it first. We recognized we need to do this too, and so we made our own. Yeah, it's just one of those things. After we go out, like on the Revolution, I mean, I remember me and my dad and one of our engineers went out and did 8,000 rounds in full auto in like 6 hours just to see what parts would break.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, you learn so much from just really abusing things
to
see what's going to fail and why. So I don't know. That's kind of our method, is just destroy something, see where it breaks, try and fix it, and keep doing it.
Well, it's always helpful when you've got people that are innovating that are actual hardcore end users themselves. A lot of companies in our business, they have engineers and they're great and they're smart guys, but they're not necessarily guys that are out there shooting every weekend.
Right.
Doing classes, doing long range work, hunting, whatever. And so they lose some of that edge because their designs are more about what's cool for an engineer, not necessarily a shooter. And so I think part of POF's success over the years has been that you guys are hardcore end users and see needs and see things that need to be fixed, and are not complacent with, okay, this is our technology, and we're going to die on this this battlefield. We're going to change it if it needs it.
Yep.
And so that constant innovation, I think, has kept you guys kind of on the front end of it. I know when you came out with the Renegade and the Rogue, I mean, I got super excited because I've told this story before on the podcast. I probably went through at least 3 or 4 or 5 large frame 308 ARs, and I could never fall in love with one because it was heavy. You know, I hunt a lot, and so I wanted something that I could go hog hunting with or whatever. But I just didn't want to pack around a 10, 12-pound rifle.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when that Rogue came out, I remember I called Jeremy like the next day and said, "Hey, dude, I got to have one of these," And he's like, "All right, we'll get you one."
Yeah.
And so I mean, that thing's great. Now I've got a gun that weighs the same as my 5.56 gun, that I've got a pretty heavy scope on. Doesn't have a lot of recoil, is stupid accurate, and is light and handy, run suppressed, run unsuppressed. I mean, that was a godsend as far as for somebody who wanted 308 but actually wanted a lightweight, easy to shoot gun. And those are the kind of things that I think the guys who don't use this stuff don't factor in a lot of times.
Yeah, a lot of detail you just went over right there that I think that, it can be a copy and paste sort of, especially this category of XYZ big brand just came out with a new AR. Let's copy it and put our logo on it. You guys are clearly, thinking from a completely different angle on that.
We have to, right? I mean, we're 50 employees. I don't have like 1,500 employees. I don't have 100,000 square foot facilities full of machines, right? So I can never compete, at least where we're at right now in the price point market. So we have to stay relevant. We have to innovate.
Yeah.
We have to make good quality products and be different. Keep your name out there. So, I mean, that's like I said, that's for us is just staying on that, staying true to what we are, American-made company, being different, being innovative, and just staying in our lane, because we know that's our lane. We're a higher-end product, and it's got to be different. It can't just be an imitation of something. Yeah.
Let's talk through maybe some of the different models for people that might not be familiar. So, we've got Rogue and Revolution and Renegade and, several different iterations. What, somebody potentially shopping, looking, curious about the different models, different what's the word I'm looking for? Uses, whatever that may be. Maybe run through that a little bit.
Yeah. So like the Revolution is our flagship. It's our Cadillac of our brand. So it's got all the features and benefits packed into it. It's got everything you could possibly need. It's got all those innovations that we talked about with the heatsink barrel nut, the roller cam pin.
Fully ambidextrous.
Yeah. It's even got, I don't know if you've played with one or not, but it's got.
No, Jason has one though. That maybe I'll shoot one day.
Yeah. The Revolution has a bolt hold open inside the trigger well. So, when you're manipulating a a AR style rifle, you usually have to take your hand off, put it on your hip, lock it back.
Right. Yeah.
With that one, you just keep your finger in the trigger guard, push up on the button, and rack it back, and it locks back.
Oh wow.
And the thing that I like to say with that is, within a 2-inch workspace, I can do anything to manipulate the gun. Drop the mag, drop the bolt, lock the bolt back, get to the safety on either side. So I mean, that's really the advantage. It's quick.
Yep.
I might go crack one out of the warehouse and check it out.
Again, that's stuff that people who actually use these
right
start to think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not it's just not a.
Oh, I know the leg trick with the absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
And that gun also has our 5-position gas block, so you can change the position if you're shooting suppressed, or not shooting suppressed. You can change the gas setting so it runs better.
Yep.
You get constant ejection patterns. Everybody gets happy about that. And then you go into we'll stay with the 308s, and you go into the Rogue like Jason has, and that's.
Oh, you have the Rogue. Okay.
Yeah. And that takes about a pound off of the Revolution, just a little over a pound off the Revolution, and that's, we took some of the unnecessary stuff. And
for your average guy.
Yeah, for your average guy that wants to go with a lightweight gun.
The Hunter doesn't need all the high-speed 3-gun ambidextrous stuff, right? They want something that's going to function every time, easy to use.
Carry through the woods, whatever. Yep.
And the biggest difference with the Rogue is it's a billet. It's a forged receiver. It's not a billet receiver like on the Revolution. So we were able to get a lot of weight out of it without having to make it expensive and doing machine work like we do on the billet sets on the Revolution. It's DI system. Instead of having the rifle length systems that we have on the Revolution, it's a mid length. So it just saves some machine time and some parts cost for us. Otherwise, I mean, they're the same heartbeat, right? Same carrier, same bolt, just in a little more affordable package because we're not having to do as much machine time to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't get the fluted barrel like you do on the Revolutions. Again, saves time. It's stainless instead of nitride, so we're not having to send it out for another process.
Right.
That's really the big difference on that gun. And like I said, for the Hunter, I remember I had a 20-inch P308. I had a Swarovski scope, my Surefire 7.62 suppressor, 20-round mag, and I'm like, Dad, this thing weighs 18 pounds.
Yeah.
I was, we'll do the Revolution. It'll be 7.3. And I'm like, okay, now I got my Swarovski scope, my Surefire, and a 20-round mag, and now it's 12 pounds.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, we need it lighter because this thing sucks to carry around in Arizona. I mean, that's all you're doing is hiking up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yep.
And so when we did the Rogue, I mean, this is perfect. This everything that I need in a package just for going out backpacking, hiking, camping, hunting, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at it on, an AR and it always looks just heavier than a sleek bolt action rifle to begin with.
Yep.
So you take a Rogue and you set it next to one of the myriad of super extreme lightweight bolt action hunting rifles right now, and it's lighter.
Yeah.
And so you're starting lighter than your typical carbon fiber wrapped barrel, carbon fiber stock bolt gun that's so hot right now.
Yep.
And you start, and so when you add an optic and a suppressor and all that stuff on there, all of a sudden now, basically, I am where my old 308 started unloaded.
Right.
So it's like at 9.5 pounds, which that's
light, also good for the guy who likes to throw a lot of crap on his rifle with lights and lasers and bipods and all that kind of stuff. So
the stuff that you chunk in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, right. I mean,
that's ARs though. They're Barbie doll for men. That's hilarious.
That's a great way to put it.
Accessorize them.
You're exactly right.
And one of the big things with those two platforms too is a lot of people say, oh, it's a lightweight 308. But it's probably got a lot of recoil. Well,
no, it doesn't.
Jason can attest to this.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Okay, so how do you manage the recoil with that that weight to round ratio? I guess.
Okay, the biggest thing is your AR-10 guns, right? That's a 1.5 pound carrier. Okay, so we're half the weight on the recoiling mass moving back
by using that AR-15 bolt carrier.
Right,
and because of that, we're half the size gas port because we don't need as much gas to cycle it. So you're not getting a really gas system throwing a big mass back into your shoulder.
Right.
That's really where the recoil difference comes from.
Yeah. It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
And the thing with that is you tell somebody that, most people will go, okay, that makes sense. And then when they shoot it, they're like, okay, now I really understand what you're saying. It's just less moving mass
right
in your shoulder.
Right.
Yep.
What else down the line?
So we skipped over one, and it's the Revolution DI. So the Revolution has the piston system, and then the Revolution DI obviously is a DI system with a 9-position gas block. So you can adjust it even finer tune it to your suppressors if you're going to suppress it or whatever your load may be with your ammunition. And then going into, some of our 5.56 guns, you have the 415 that Cody talked about. That was the original, that's where we started. That's our, the longest running one we have right now.
And you guys also kind of reflect with SBRs to your main line guns. So it's got almost a smaller reflection of the other guns as well.
Correct.
And then pistols. Question on that, just curious. Where are you guys thinking? And, you can, I don't know if you want to share or not, but with the SBR and kind of pistol debate and talks and everything going on, in the political world with it, where do you see that headed, and what's the kind of a plan?
I don't see it head anywhere good.
Yeah,
and it pisses me off because our politics are just so messed up. They tell you can have this, then you can't, then you can have it again, and now we're going to make you get rid of all these.
Will you guys continue with the pistol line? I guess
we are. I mean, look, most people stop buying pistol brace guns, so we just put those tubes on them.
Right.
I don't like those guns. I want the pistol brace because it looks better and it's functional.
Yeah.
Right.
But I just feel bad for a lot of consumers out there that went and bought these guns, and now everybody's in limbo. Like, am I breaking the law? Well, and there's no clarity on it.
And the bad part is there's going to be quite a few of those people have no clue this is even happening.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, in the last, all we keep hearing about is 10 million first-time gun buyers in the last 3 years. How many of those people bought one of those because maybe it was available or whatever? They thought, oh, this is practical, stuck in a closet, and won't know that they're potentially breaking a law.
I tell these guys, like Jason, it's like, dude, because I've got a pistol, and I'm like, so AR pistol, I'm like, just tell me when I need to pay who. I'm like, because I can't keep up with it. I'm not. You're more, into the politics of it, and I don't want to drift too far into politics.
No.
But it's just, I was just kind of curious, knowing that you have both. It's like I would assume you're probably just going to have to meld into. SBRs.
Our general thought process is that I think the SBR world will start to pick back up again. Obviously, it's been pretty dormant since the brace thing came out.
Right.
I mean, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to do one of those.
I
think SBRs will be relevant again. I do think, especially on premium brands like you guys, it'll be not as much of a blow as some of the economy brands because let's face it, if you're already spending POF type dollars, a $200 tax stamp for an SBR is not probably a huge ask.
Right.
But if you're buying a $600 AR pistol, then all of a sudden $200 is a huge percentage of that.
You're on more of a budget. In that range,
so I do think that, but I think SBRs will become. Now the question is what's going to be the turnaround time on forums? That can really get bogged down.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yep.
So you guys are obviously just continuing to invest in your innovation in that category as well, because I think you're right. I agree. I think once we get some sort of decision, it'll emerge. I think it'll come back because they're cool. They're super cool. I mean, either way you go, I love my AR pistol.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to do with it right now. And
and that's the thing. You put so many consumers into this. Am I breaking the law? Am I not? There's no clarity on it. They haven't made any of the decisions public yet, other than, hey, this is the point system we're going to.
Right.
But is it in effect yet?
Right.
Nobody knows.
Right.
Yeah.
And technically, it's not a law. It's just a ruling.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
And then I saw downstairs too. I think Garrett had as well. Was really like a pistol. Which one was that you guys brought in?
That was our Phoenix.
The Phoenix. Okay, that's
9mm subgun that we came out with this year in 2022.
Yeah. That thing's cool. That thing's really cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I handled it for a minute. I was kind of staring at that thing playing around, but that little guy caught my eye too. So that's been pretty popular. Well received.
It's done really good for us. Yeah, it's going to what Cody said, we and what you were saying too is we got to keep innovating. We got to keep moving forward and making changes and not just stick to just ARs.
Right.
We got to kind of move around a little bit and be flexible. And so we decided to. That was 6 years in the making on that one, pretty much.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They started working on it a while back, and then we got it to where we wanted it to be, and how we wanted it to function, and how we wanted it to look.
Yeah.
And
that's got to be fun to shoot.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's super fun to shoot.
It's a lot funner in full auto, I'll tell you that.
We'll be happy to come out to Arizona and do some R&D. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Let's get into the new stuff here.
Okay.
We teased it a little bit. I'll let you kind of introduce it. So this is new for 2023, brand new. And again, when I saw this earlier today, I was really intrigued by it. You can't not be intrigued by it. Lot going on. Super cool. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so
the Tombstone.
The Tombstone. Obviously, we're Patriot Ordnance Factory, right, in Phoenix, Arizona. When you think of the Old West, what's more Americana than a lever action, right? And so, again, trying to do stuff that there's not a lot of people in. I mean, when you look at the AR market, a lot of those manufacturers started doing bolt actions.
Yeah.
We didn't want to look like we were copying. We started looking at lever actions, and I mean, that was the first gun I ever shot was a 30-30 Winchester, great gun. I'm like, let's do something like that. So we, when we looked at, we did the Phoenix, we made our own magazine for it. Let's do a 9mm. Nobody's making a 9mm lever action. Why not? It's kind of cool.
Super cool.
And that's kind of what we came up with. And I'll give this to you, Jeremy. When we, I don't know if you guys see, there's a lot of, like, the guys will take the Henrys or the Marlins and the Mag Pit Customs will do those. They're super popular right now. And so we kind of tried to make it that tactical lever action.
Sure.
Magazine fed 9mm, super short throw.
First thing I saw on this was the wood, honestly, like the look of it, but like that little bit of wood on there. You guys did a masterful job of combining old and new.
Thank you.
I love it. I mean, I really love it. And then the lever action. So it's almost like it's got this sort of Mad Max vibe with a little the wood and the lever, the wood and the lever action really give it an old school
throwback.
Yeah, it's cool.
Well, and too, I mean, it's just super practical because if you're shooting subsonic 9mm ammo with a non-reciprocating action, it's gonna be crazy.
It
quiet.
feels good. It's light. Just
cheap
picking
to
up
shoot. Everybody has 9mm.
Yeah.
Everybody shot a lever action pretty. I mean, maybe some people haven't, but it's a very popular rifle platform out there.
Yeah.
Simple to use. I mean, on this gun, so we have a half cock safety, the crossbar safety. It uses the Magpul 870 stock. It's a 16-inch deep fluted barrel, nitride heat treated.
See, check this out. Yeah, keep going.
The handguard is an extruded handguard. It's bolted across the top, just kind of like our 415 system.
Yep.
It's a toggle link system like an 1873 Winchester. So as far as the trigger pull, it's a very light trigger. I've just been really impressed with what our engineering staff came up with.
Yeah, I love it. Jason, where are you going to shoot this besides the range? Besides the range, though, really, what's a cool application you think for this?
I love going prairie dog hunting.
There you go.
And there's nothing more fun than shooting prairie dogs as you're riding around to the next big field. And I remember when we first saw this thing, I was like, man, this would be so much fun to go shooting out of the truck on prairie dogs. Something like that. That would be a blast.
Kind of like I was saying, Mad Max, that maybe you're standing up in the back of a Jeep. Just rolling. There's dust flying in the Arizona desert, man.
I mean, if you're in an area where, maybe there's issues with semi-automatics and stuff, it gives you a great option. You have some capacity. You can shoot a lever action pretty dang fast.
Yeah.
Especially with a short throw like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is, when we've been talking about this a lot here at the office, is that I think a lot of this gun culture 2.0 that everybody keeps talking about is looking for something now fun.
Yeah.
A lot of these people got into the gun world because they were scared.
Yep.
They were nervous.
Yeah.
They bought something for protection, and a lot of these people now are shooting. They're enjoying it, and so we're seeing a huge increase in rimfire. We're seeing a huge increase in some of these guns that are a little more just for fun.
Yep.
And this gun has fun all over it.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Those were conversations we had with our marketing teams. They're like, well, what need does this film? Like, none. It's just cool. They're really. We just wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
They really didn't have a purpose. It was
I agree.
Just more for fun.
Not everything has to be perfectly practical. Look at automobiles and
we come
Corvette or a Corolla. I mean,
both do the same job. They're going to get you A to B.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, when I started in this industry in 1998, this industry was mainly focused on hunting.
Yep.
It was a hunting focused industry. And by about 2003, 2004, it started shifting towards it was a shooting industry.
Yeah.
And hunting started becoming the sideline. I'd venture now to say shooting 75% of it.
Yep.
And so it doesn't necessarily have to have long-range hunting capabilities. It doesn't have to have energy capabilities for that. It can just be for shooting steel plates. I can promise you there's a lot more steel plates shot every year than there are deer.
Right.
So, and that's what that gun's fun for.
Me and Jeremy actually had that conversation with U.S. Fish and Wildlife came out to the shop. They wanted to do they called it Partners with a Payer. And it was basically, I don't know if your listeners all know, but every firearms manufacturer has to pay 11% of the product towards the Pittman-Roberts Act, which covers conservation. Like, well, we really need to get more hunters out there. And I'm like, you guys don't understand. The guy that's just going to the range and buying 4 or 5 boxes of 9mm a week is doing more for conservation than a real hunter, because that hunter is going to buy one gun, one box of ammo, he's going to sight it in, and he's done.
Yep.
The guys that are just going out shooting for fun, doing the tactical classes, those guys are getting way more tax dollars in for conservation because they're shooting all the time.
That's a great point, yeah.
People don't get that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that guy that just goes to the range, takes his kids every weekend, is doing more for conservation than the actual hunter. So
yeah, that's interesting.
I'm going to tell you, and if you're the kind of guy or lady who likes to introduce new shooters to our sport, this kind of gun is perfection.
Perfect for it.
I took my oldest son's girlfriend to go shoot at the range last week. She hadn't shot before, she's 18, and you know what she enjoyed shooting the most? My SIG MPX 9mm carbine, because it was
just fun gun.
It was suppressed. It was quiet.
Right.
It was fun.
No recoil.
No recoil. When you hit something, it actually did something.
Yep.
And this, if I'd have had one of these, I'd have been like, this would have been the first gun she would have shot.
Yeah.
Because this is just absolute fun.
Yeah.
You're manipulating the action. You're getting people working the guns. You're getting used to manipulating things. These are kind of guns that are great training tools. Gets people excited about shooting. If you go out and bring somebody to the range for the first time and let them shoot, Granddad's 12 gauge or a 30-06, you lose them.
Yeah.
They're not interested anymore. But a carbine and 9mm that's quiet.
I've told that story with my dad. My dad loves the old World War II rifles, and the M1 Garand smoked my shoulder.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, I'm good. He's like, you're done already? I'm like, yeah. Like, why do I want to shoot it more? It sucks.
Beat me up.
It's not fun. This is fun.
And this gun would be a ton of fun sitting at camp, just when you're out camping, hanging out with the family, like set up a steel target or a can for whatever you want to shoot.
Cans off the log, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sit there and plink with it. It's 9mm. Your kids can shoot it if you want to teach them how to shoot.
The funny thing is, we actually had one of the writers we sent a sample through was shooting the snake shot through it. He said it was awesome.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, I haven't even thought about that.
No kidding.
That'd be cool. Yeah, like if you do like RV traveling or van life, what a cool gun to have with you that could do just a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, pretty cool, man.
And,
I like it.
a writer that we talked to also, when I first showed him this, this was 8 or 9 months ago when it was still in prototype phases. He was like, this gun would be so much fun in pistol PCC matches. Yeah. Because you can just run through it as fast as you can. This would be a great gun for that. And I was like, wow, we didn't even think of that, but yeah, sure.
Oh, look, people will find uses that you never thought about for all these things. So
it's amazing. Like, even on the R&D side, we'll go out and shoot something and, man, this is great. And you give it to somebody that's not a part of the team, and they go, oh, we never tested something like that. So it is nice getting these into different people's hands.
Sure.
Right.
Because of that. They shoot things different than we do. And you just see them.
Well,
man, I didn't even think of that.
Well, you have expectations before you pull the trigger for the first time. You probably, you kind of have a vision for it, where someone who's never shot it has no expectations. Someone like me or Jason, just you put it in our hand, we're going to give it a ride. And
we do that with a lot of manufacturers. They'll send us pre-production stuff and say, hey, go shoot 500 rounds to this thing and let us know. Because like you said, it's a different perspective. Yep. You kind of get out of the group think of what we've been talking about, because we all, inside of our four walls, we know where each other are thinking, and when we say something, it makes sense. But then you say the same thing to somebody outside, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so it doesn't translate as well. So that's good. That's good that you guys are doing that. And again, I think that's even more testament that you guys are innovating around what real shooters and what real end users are doing, and giving you feedback to make these guns better. So I think that's why you continue to be on the tip of the spear when it comes as far as innovation and new products. So
this kicks off 2023, the Tombstone. You guys got some more stuff lined up? Nothing, not too many secrets, but a couple other launches here in 2023.
We joke about it, like having that engineering type as a father, my dad would start something and then he would get bored and go to something else and then start something else.
Right,
and,
right.
You know,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of projects that we still have that haven't even been touched because he would start it and go, I'm going to work on this.
Right.
So fortunately for me, yes, we do have quite a bit of projects. It's just trying to pick,
prioritize and see it through.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Well, and the way the market's changed and the way things keep navigating, something that maybe didn't make sense to pursue 10 years ago might make perfect sense right now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point, to be somewhat fluid. Maybe have a few things sort of in just idea phase because things shift.
No, and you think about it, I mean, there's a lot of bigger companies. You're steering a battleship, right? I mean, it takes a lot longer for them to pivot than it does for us being the size that we're at with 50 employees. We can move and change direction a lot faster. So,
So this will be at SHOT Show. This will be probably the crown jewel of SHOT Show at your booth. Kicking this guy off here. So I think it's going to draw a lot of attention. Where are you guys at SHOT? By the way, booth wise, are you in the big room upstairs?
Yeah, we're in the big room upstairs in booth 10371.
10371. So anybody who wants to come take a peek at this bad boy, go to the POF booth. Looking forward to it. You guys looking forward to getting back to? Did you go to SHOT last year?
Yeah, we went last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were there. It was a really great show for us. I mean, it was probably one of the better ones I've ever been to last year.
I heard a lot got done last year, which we didn't. We got a big crew, and it's just I think we're past it finally.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to going back. It's been 2 years.
I'm anxious to see our new booth.
Yeah, we have a brand new booth.
Everybody else saw it last year except for us.
Yeah, we had a brand new booth that we actually put up just to be a good sport about it, and it was there. So and we paid for it. So
I was telling Jason earlier, it looked really nice.
Yeah,
So
it's
you
like
guys
a
did good job with your
giant advertisement, I guess. But looking forward to actually utilizing it this year and getting back to it. But yeah, I heard last year was great. A lot got done. A lot of connections made, and though a little bit smaller audience. But I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
And being on the manufacturer side, I think NSSF did a good job kind of tailoring back and making it more what it's supposed to be, and not as much the friends of somebody you're trying to meet with.
Right. Yeah.
It was a lot more interactive with actual clients, and so I don't know, I thought they did a good job.
That's fantastic. Anything else you guys want to add or touch on, Jason?
I don't think so.
No?
I think we covered most of it right now.
That's good stuff. I really appreciate you guys coming to see us. It's
Thanks for
fantastic.
giving us the opportunity, man.
Go check out the new Tombstone, and you can find us on all the socials at Lipsey's Guns, of course, on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and everywhere we're allowed to be online.
Where do they find you guys?
POF-USA.com.
There you go. All the socials as well.
All the socials. Yep.
Gotcha. POF-USA.com. Go check them out, guys. And until next time, aim higher.